This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. Obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors, but they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping. That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. The platform connects you with trusted experts to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. So whether you're closing your first deal or gearing up for growth, Vanta makes compliance easy. Join over 8,000 companies, including Y Combinator and Techstar startups who trust Vanta. For a limited time, get $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/simplify. That's VANTA.com/simplify for $1,000 off.
I only know the real numbers for club because I'm part of the club council, the competitions committee, and it's a 43% increase. Like,
holy cow.
Insane, right? And a lot of it, 26%, if I'm remembering my numbers right, is women. So it is a huge boom for women.
So post-college, like not even college players, just post-college.
Yeah, because I don't know college. I don't know those numbers. I know that they are seeing growth. All the college, NCR, everybody is seeing growth. It's about 16% from, we did some recent numbers for that conference that I mentioned. I don't know how many are brand new to rugby, but it's booming right now. This is the time for women's sports. And if you're not on board, get on board.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Let's give it up for Wendy Young.
Welcome to US Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
In case you missed it, we just had on the head coach of the women's rugby team, or 15's USA Rugby team, Sione Fukofuka. And we had a blast talking about, to the 14, the camps they have going on, the camps in California, the fires in California, and the 25 season coming up, which is a big year. And in a minute or two, we're about to have Wendy Young from YSC Rugby join us to talk more about the USA Women's program leading into the 25 and actually these camps. She knows a lot more about these players than you and I do. I know, Fitzy, you talk a big game, but you don't know as much as she does. So either way, listeners, this is US Rugby Happy Hour Live. I, again, am in John Fitzpatrick, and he is Bill Baker. In case things go wrong.
What is it?
Anyway, Fitzy, what do you say? Let's get to the next guest.
Yeah, do you have another song?
I do have another song. YSC Rugby's own Wendy Young is joining us. And to do the introduction, which I almost just did there, is probably our newest hit. Will definitely win us a Grammy. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do this.
Your scrum have connection, the mastermind behind. We're assuming she wants playing scrum half, or has a thing for scrum halves. Former rugby referee, coach and player. To state she's a 3-time Rugby Hall of Famer. Host with the most of a dose of all things awesome in women's rugby. Let's give it up for Wendy Young.
I think she's there. She has no video, but that's okay. Wendy, are you there?
How amazing that song was.
I am here, and I don't know why my video's not working. I've been on video calls all day long, so don't worry.
Were you able to hear the song at all?
I heard a little bit of it. I heard Sione's. That was amazing.
Oh. Yours is pretty darn good too. We will post that online somewhere for you to read. Actually, listeners, we do outside of our podcast replays of these shows. We on Sunday mornings or late night Saturday, the jingle songs post as bonus episodes. So you can actually create a Spotify or Apple playlist of just our intro songs.
Gotta do that.
So yeah, so there will be a Wendy Young song.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so honored.
You should be. I mean, I'm sorry. We have more fun, I think, making them than playing them back. But so, Wendy, I know we can't see you, and that's okay. That's okay. We can always try to figure it out in a minute. It's fine. But how are you? It's been a bit.
I'm good. I'm so pumped up, like you guys were saying after listening to Sione. I mean, the camps, it's World Cup here, Alona Mars everywhere. Like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
WER being released today, just such a cool time.
Oh, it's historic. I mean, it's the popularity of women's rugby is in my mind an all-time high for many reasons. Alona's one of them. The stuff you do over the years is another reason for it. The base of it, the stuff that Fitzy does. All right, a little bit, but
2 shots at me today, Bill.
it's what we're doing here. But it's exciting, and you know what? Wendy, we obviously have you on the show tonight to talk about USA player pool, but more specifically the up and coming players as well. But first, let's talk about that a bit, Alona Mar, whatever. Let's talk about PWR players for a second. The Rachel Johnsons, Lev Kelchers, Kate Zachary's, Hope Rogers are playing great. But let's talk about a few others briefly. The first is the most obvious. Again, Alona Mar, of course. 3 appearances, 2 starts. Was out last week with a broken nose. Bristol has a chance to get the playoffs. Her excitement's bringing fans into the crowd. In the seats, they're selling tickets. What has been your opinion on how she's played, and also on the attention she's received for herself and for the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the coolest thing about her is that she talks the game and she plays the game, right? Like, she's confident, she's there, she's a baller, she's fast, she's powerful. And there was so many people that were like, she's a 7th player, she'll never fit in on the 15s field. Yeah. And she's just proven all of them wrong, right? Like, it's just like the interview she did last week about the interviewer just pestering her about imposter syndrome. Oh. Like, she's a professional athlete. Like, she has earned every accolade, including that bronze medal, and has just crushed it and is just a wonderful role model for all women and girls in sport. And it's just amazing to see.
Wendy, you're the head coach of the USA Women's Eagles. Is Alona Mar a World Cup roster? Is she World Cup roster spot worthy?
Now I have to do my Aussie accent, and that one has this Aussie accent. Yeah, I mean, I get why Sione, I liked the nugget that he dropped in his interview that they talked about this starting in May of last year. So this wasn't, a lot of people, again, thought this was a win, right? Like, now I'm an Olympian, I have clout. No, I mean, Alana's had this on her radar, and they've been talking about it for a while. And so I think they're doing the right steps. She's a superstar. I think she gets time with Bristol. My ultimate wish list is then she comes and signs with the WER, right? So they play for the Bay Breakers and then get more time.
Not the Boston Banshees?
Yeah, come on.
Well, she's got to be by Chula, right? She's got to stay near home.
That's true. Point. That's a good point.
So she could do both, right? She could do like we're seeing a lot of players. They'll travel back and forth for 7s and 15s, But if I think I take her for the star power alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're gonna take her, and I think I would like to see her move into the centers. I think an Alona, we see it on the 7s field all the time, would be spectacular and crushing.
Will we see her play the centers maybe for Bristol in the next couple of weeks? Like, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bristol's coach has said he's thinking about it, right? Like, and I've had conversations with Sione, and I think he said this publicly as well, that, they want to get her time in other spots. It's just a matter of they really need to get into the semis so they get more games. Yeah. Right. And they're in that 5th position. And so they've got to win this weekend, which is another sellout for them, which is exciting. Hopefully she can play. She broke her nose in the 76th minute last week, So, I mean, all the stars have to align, but she's doing the work. Her teammates seem to love her, and the crowds. I mean, we also talked a lot about that the Olympics fans that found her wouldn't follow her. We had Americans flying to England who have never seen rugby to watch her play rugby. Like, that's awesome. Okay.
And this weekend, it's Loughborough Lightning. which has 4 amazing USA Eagles in that team as well. And I personally, like Fitzy relate up to, I'd love to see Alana go head-to-head with Alev.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like, they do it at practice, but like then they're teammates all the time. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch them playing each other. I mean, with Exeter, you're like, oh, Rachel Johnson got her, it's just a nice matchup. And I mean, like we were saying, there's 21 Eagles over there playing in the PWR, and we're hopeful that some will play in the WER. Some have been announced, obviously, with the foundational players, but it's just a really exciting time. And I think that, the Eagles there's a lot of pressure to rise for them. And we had Tamara Shepard at the WRCRA conference in Denver last week, and I got to chat with her a lot, and
Congrats
25
from that,
is a
by the way.
goal. Thank you. Yeah, 25 is a goal, but like 29 is really the goal, right? Like how much can you improve in 4 years? And that's, I think, the challenge right now.
All right, a couple more things before we get on to the up-and-comers. One more question about PWR, and then we'll have a little WER and move on. But this is a long question, I think. I'm going to throw out a bunch of names to you, and I want you to talk about some of these players. You don't have to talk about all of them. These are some of the lesser known. There's some, of course, like Gabby Cantorna, she just returned from injury, been out since November. Katana Howard's finally back from being out the entire season, 2 appearances so far. Georgie, Paris Redding, who you just heard Sione said she'll be back soon. Thank God. Not thank God. I mean, she's such an amazing player to see her out there.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a couple other players out there that really have drew my attention. Olivia Leatherman, we talked to Sione about. She plays so well since joining Trailfinders. 7 consecutive starts, has done great. Sagapola's back from injury. She's just 2 appearances so far, but I love the way she plays also. So looking at those younger players like Leatherman, how do you think they're going to fit in going into this 2025?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting mixture, right? So we've got all these players playing the PWR, playing high caliber international athletes. Like Exeter's stacked. Saracens is stacked with England internationals, Canadian internationals, French internationals. It's just amazing the competition they're getting over there. But it's just going to be about how they mesh when they get to these pre-camps, right? And we've heard some nuggets of how many games the Eagles are going to have leading up to the World Cup. It's sounding like 4 or 5 now, which is exciting. And so I think we'll get all those dates soon, and we'll get all those locked in. But those are going to be really Sione's chance to see these players and get Leatherman in and see how she plays with Sagapolo in that front row or wherever they end up, right? Like, and Alev and Alona maybe in the centers. And then maybe we'll see Chetta Ember and Nicole Heverland getting in on, Heverland at 10 is exciting. We heard Sione say that as well. So I think this is the time for him to try out these combinations and then, get to that 32 player squad. But I think, in the PWR, we're starting to see more of those games being streamed as well. And I think Alona has obviously helped with that too. So Siona's getting to see these players in and out every week. And I think that's critical. And just the access that they're getting to high level rugby over there is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we know, there's going to be some more access to high-level rugby here in the U.S. Women's Elite Rugby kicking off. I believe that's April. I know the schedule's not out yet. It's
March,
going to come.
yeah.
The big news, obviously, of course, was the release of the team names and logos for the first 6. There it is, Bill. Show it up on the screen.
It's up there.
Wendy, do you have a favorite name or favorite logo that you've seen?
These are so fun. And I just have to give credit to the WER team. They're really fun. I like the colors. My wife hasn't posted on LinkedIn yet, but she's actually their director of rugby operations for WER now. So I'm also biased to loving this league. So shout out to Tracy, my wife. She needs to update her LinkedIn. But yeah, I think, Exiles is really fun. I'm really partial to the teal, just like the Liberty and then the Onyx. I think the pink and black is going to just be probably the sickest kid out there. And we showed our son and he's like, I want one of all of them. I want a t-shirt. I want a hat. This is the time, and this league is really, really exciting. And some of the coolest takes I've seen on TikTok were like, these are better than the PWHL logos. And not that you want to be better, right? Because it's all women's sports. We want to be awesome, but that's pretty exciting. And to see how many, I would say, non-rugby people that are talking about these logos and colors is really, really exciting.
I'm excited about merch. I'm sorry. I can't wait for merch to come out. I am going to buy up some stuff, not even just Boston Banshees. I'm going to get it all, I think.
Yeah, it's already up. The store's up, right? Like I heard we have sales already today. So I would say get it in now because they're going to be having a struggle maybe to make it for a little bit because it's all new, and then they'll get it to you as fast as they can. But yeah, let's buy stuff. Let's support this league. Let's go.
Oh, 100%.
Go ahead, Bill.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. All right, let's jump forward, Wendy. Let's talk about, there was a camp just this past week or so ago that ended in California, the National Team Identification Camp. 40 players invited across college, U20s, U23s, some current Eagles domestically. Like that, I might have the numbers listed wrong here, but like 12 college players, 24 WER, WPL players, like 3 sevens players, some crossovers too. So a really interesting mix of players. So let's talk about a few of these players that fans should be aware of. And we're going to start with the forwards, Wendy. Again, we seem to see some really strong college forwards up and coming. You know, Jordan LeBeau, Dartmouth College, great program. I don't know if you've ever been at their facility in New Hampshire, but it's fantastic. Freda Tafuna from Lindenwood, another great rugby program in college. And then, of course, you got Eagle. I can't say the word. I can't talk right now. Fitzy, it's your fault. Rachel Aronecki for Colorado. So talk about them and some other up-and-coming forwards.
Yeah, I think, this is an area of forwards I think are key, obviously, for any rugby team, right? That's the obvious part. But I think there's been kind of a small depth issue looking across the last couple of years for particularly the women. And I think a lot of it has to do with, our girls' high school and youth rugby is growing, but a lot of it plays sevens. And so these athletes are getting to college, having to learn to scrum. They're only getting a couple years at it, and then, expected to go and perform with these international athletes, right? So it's been a problem, and I think we're getting better at it. And I think looking at this list, like you mentioned, Jordan LeBeau from Dartmouth, I mean, she's super strong, and the work rate that she has off the set piece is phenomenal. And I think that youth is really what we need. We need players that can step in and just get it done in that front row in particular. And then of course, like to match up with Catherine Treader, hooker extraordinaire, just like line out pro. You want to have, somebody coming behind her. And I think that Sahir Hamdan is a super strong, to come behind Catherine. And I'm not trying to push Catherine out, right? But I'm thinking of players that are pushing the envelope. They're pushing forward here. And so I think Sahir's a really good one. And then like you mentioned, Rachel Aronecki, just phenomenal, like just work ethic, just it's amazing.
We're excited about these forwards too, and to see, like I said, Trader's playing so well right now. We're not trying to push them out. We need depth behind all these players. So to have, even in camp coming up when they all meet, maybe before the Pac 4, if they get into camp, it's good to have that push as well, that competition. Are there positions in the forwards that maybe we don't have the depth, and so we need to, so we're looking for certain players. So what I'm saying is, like you mentioned hooker, I'm not necessarily in that position, but lock, are we not as deep in lock, let's say?
I think it's been mostly the front row where we've had some depth issues. I think we do have talented locks across the pitch, because usually your locks can become your back rows that can sort of be interchangeable, not always, right? And they do have different skill sets, but they can be interchangeable. So I think the front row is really where we've seen the depth issue, and I think we're getting better at it, and we're focusing on that. And I think we've got the right people in the pipeline. Kit Wagner-Ruiz, working with the under 20s, like super exciting. She was at the camp this weekend with Sione, and just if you've been to any of her sessions on how important the tricep is to the scrum, I never knew that, right? Like she can break it down to the muscle group of how important it is. And so just a really cool coach, a very technical coach that's, helping these young kids get where they need to be.
Wendy, let's move to the backs. And I don't know if you caught it in the song that Bill played for you, but the song did mention that you're a scrum half. So this is an area that position you should know well. But anyway, few Eagles in camp, Cheta Emba, Cassidy, Bargel, just to name a couple. Let's talk about the backs. Any that stand out for you outside the ones that I named?
Yeah, I think some that are really interesting is Christine Bitter. She's been in the under 23s program for a bit. She's been playing Colorado and playing behind Mackenzie and just doing really well. And I think, her kicking is really, really key and clutch for her. She could just boom it down the pitch and really put it in behind somebody, where kicking is, if you look at the 2014 World Cup and the 2017 World Cup, was not one of our strengths. we would often use an exit, but kick it right to a Kiwi who can run right down our throats, right? And we just would let them do that to us over and over and over again. And we've understood that we needed to learn tactical kicking. And I think we've gotten a lot better at that. And we saw that at the 2021 World Cup. And so I think we'll see, as we've seen in the women's game, kicking has become a very strong skill. So I think having her there, I mean, you mentioned Cheta Emba, but I have to just talk about Cheta Emba. She is such a standout for, of course, the sevens program. I'm really excited that she's thinking about making a switch here. And I mean, she could be in the wing, she could be in the centers. And I mean, she's just another one that is going to just bring power and speed to this back line. And then Jade McGrath, center for Bay Area. She was a standout in the WER Legacy Final, the WPL Final. Just absolutely wonderful. So excited that she's a foundational player for Bay Area. And, young, strong, super dynamic. Can't wait to see her out there.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're so done with New Year, New You. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
And back to the show. And talking about Cheta for a second, I want to get into sevens players coming in here, transition to 15s who are at that camp. But generally speaking, with like Cheta and a few other players, is there any particular reason maybe they didn't try to make the move over to Europe, or did they try, or it just is too expensive, that kind of thing?
I don't have like super personal knowledge of this, but I'm happy to spread some rumors, right? From what I've heard, the USA Sevens contract monetarily is actually quite good now. It's grown. There's more support. And so
Thank you, Michelle.
from what I'm
$4 million.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Shokan gave him $4 million. So they just split that up. No, of course not. And then the sponsorships that we're hearing from these players, right? Becoming an Olympian and winning a bronze medal opened a lot of doors for a lot of these players. So now going over to the PWR, where they won't make nearly as much as they could if they stay here in America, has been what I've heard. But I don't know. It's an interesting topic, right?
It is. Okay, so the other sevens players, obviously we got Alona Mar and Alev Kelter doing well over in PWR. But we also have a couple in camp as well, like Nicole Heverland, as for example. So let's talk about her and the other sevens players. Again, Cheta again, and Joanna. How are they fitting in with this group?
Yeah, I mean, we heard it right from Sione that Nicole Heverland doing the fly half thing. I think that's really exciting. She is just a workhorse. And I mean, she's Alona's best friend. So I think they come together. And I think we'll see Alan out there too, from Dancing with the Stars, right? Like, I think they come as a package. I think her experience, her calmness, if you've ever watched her play sevens in the fray, there's chaos happening and she's just there doing the work. Right. Like, and I think that just really lends to what she does and how she is as a person. She's really calm under pressure. And I think that's exciting. Nana Fiavesi, we've seen her. She played against Japan. She played a couple of internationals last year. I think, again, another really experienced player, but just her ability to make something of nothing. They'll give her the ball with no space. And then all of a sudden you're like, she's through. What is she doing? Oh my gosh, look at her go. I just love her physicality. So I think these transitioning stars, like we're seeing with Canada, has several sevens players that just dance back and forth between 15s and sevens, and Olivia Apps. And, it's same thing with the Kiwis. Like, it's just like Stacey Walker's suddenly back and then she's in a 15 squad again. I think that we pick that up, right? That you can share these players and make the best of both worlds. And so I think, it may be slightly frustrating for some of these young players that want to come in, seeing these Olympians walking up, but you can't say no to this experience, right? I mean, you just can't say no to it.
Wendy, let's touch on a little bit of these crossover athletes that are coming from other sports. We keep hearing the phrase, crossover athletes. It's the secret sauce to, maybe growing the game or getting, high other elite athletes over into rugby. On the men's side, we see it with college football. There's parallels there. On the women's side, right, we've seen Kelter from ice hockey and Krista Gershi from sevens from playing college soccer. What sports are we seeing these crossover athletes coming from on the women's side?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think, particularly these are college athletes, so they're doing really well. They're mostly, D1 college athletes. So Nafi Simano, a hooker from Harvard, uh, elite level weightlifting, right? Like just amazing. And to take that caliber of athlete and strength and agility and throw her in at hooker, like you can't love that more than anything, right? Like I think that's really exciting. And she'll be a really fun one to watch. Sadie Shears, Sione mentioned her as well, scrum half, so partial to my heart. Dartmouth, soccer player. And she's just got that field awareness, and then she's really good and tenacious on defense. Kayla Lawson's another one I would point out, a former track and field athlete specializing in sprint. So we're thinking Nia Tapper here. We're thinking just burn, right? Ariana Ramsey, just speed for all day. And then one that, another Dartmouth player, we talked about Dartmouth a lot. They're really picking up some really good athletes coming over from wrestling. Cindy Talalavu, I think is another one to keep an eye on. She's really, really physical and sort of like when we see judo players stretch over, they're just really good tacklers and they know how to get them to the ground. And it looks like, they're going to need an adjustment after they're hit by them as well.
I'm really surprised. No basketball players, no field hockey, volleyball players, no one from the badminton team. Come on, we can't get the D1 athletes. Pickleball.
They're coming, right? Like, I mean, I think we're seeing a rise in registrations and people interested in playing the sport. So they're coming. Everybody's coming.
Well, actually, speaking of that real quick, especially with Alana Marr through, the Olympics and Dancing with the Stars, I mean, I don't think there's a percentage we can actually pinpoint, but how much of an uptick, especially at the college level, has women's rugby increased?
Yeah, I only know the real numbers for club because I'm part of the club council, the competitions committee, and it's a 43% increase. Like,
holy cow.
Insane, right? And a lot of it, 26%, if I'm remembering my numbers right, is women. So it is a huge boon for women.
So post-college, like not even college players, just post-college.
Yeah, because I don't know for college. I don't know those numbers. I know that they are seeing growth. All the college, NCR, everybody is seeing growth. It's about 16% we did some recent numbers for that conference that I mentioned. I don't know how many are brand new to rugby, but it's booming right now. This is the time for women's sports. And if you're not on board, get on board.
Yeah, no kidding. So the attendance of young prospects like Sadie, we mentioned her a couple of times, and Nafi, does this show? I mean, this is evidence of the strength of the U20 into U23 pathways. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, and I'm so excited that those are back, right? Like we need these programs. We need them to have support. I know that like NCR is also starting one and they're going to go over to the World Cup and take a team. And so we've got the USA side, we've got the NCR side. Like I think it's really exciting. And we've got to have these pipelines, right? Where they're playing more games. And we know that we've done strategic sessions for decades now that rugby players need to play more games. And so if we can get them playing more high performance games, that's exactly what we need. And so those pipelines and pathways are working. And I think the college programs are really contributing to it as well. They're getting more professional. They're getting more experienced coaches in there as well. And it's all just feeding the monster, which is amazing.
Wendy, last two questions here for you. MLR season's coming up in 2 weeks. Will we hear you calling more games?
You will. We got our schedules. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've been trying to keep track of all the transfers. And so thank you to all the gents that do that online and seeing some of the pre-games. Looking like it's going to be a really exciting season.
All right. Tell us your favorite to win it. Don't say the Free Jacks.
Yes.
Man, I would have said Dallas, but that team, just Texas, we've lost all our teams, except for Houston, of course. I think it might be LA's time. It seems like they've got that community support. They've got some superstars that are coming in. Yeah, I like LA. I mean, you can't count out the Free Jacks. And then I would also put Seattle in the boat. They've been second too many times, right? They've got the gown, they've got all the pretty formal attire, and they just need to get it done.
They got the gown? Do you say they have the gown?
Yeah, they're ready to go to the ball. They're all
okay. I got
ball.
Right over my head. Sorry. Wendy, we can't leave without playing the open song for you again since you missed the first half of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll go for it. It's about 8 minutes long. I'm just kidding.
Extended cut.
So here you go. I put all my money in Vegas that we're going to win a Grammy with this one. So hopefully we do. Okay, here we go.
It's time. Let's bring on the leader in women's rugby coverage. Your scrum half connection, the mastermind behind. We're assuming she once played scrum half, or has a thing for scrum half. Former rugby referee, coach and player. 2 states, she's a 3-time Rugby Hall of Famer.
Nice.
With the most of a dose of all things awesome in women's rugby. Let's give it up for Wendy Young.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, how do I get a copy of it? And can I put it on my
send it to
video
you.
every week?
You'll have to wait until it gets on MTV. Oh, wait.
Yeah, right. Do I pay you in pennies or how does it work?
That works. Wendy,
Send you one for every week.
thank you. Yes. Wendy, it's been an absolute blast having you on the show again. Always fun talking to you, and your insight is just so worth it. And thank you so much for sharing all your details on these players. We're so excited about this next year. 25, such a big year for the women's rugby program.
Yeah. It is absolutely going to be phenomenal. I mean, we've got Pac-4 we've been talking about. We've got so much coming up. WER is about to kick off at the end of March. Like, it's time. Let's go. I can't wait anymore. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course, and hopefully we'll see you next time. So,
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. It's like I said, I've been on camera all day today, so.
all right, you're looking at a little your pupils a little narrow there.
Right?
The white dot in the middle.
Got some lines on it. Yeah.
All right, Wendy, thanks so much. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Wow, 2 for 2. I didn't kick him off early. I got it. For those of you not, understanding, I tend to boot our guests off as they're saying thank you.
Yeah, didn't answer our questions. Good to heck out of
Yeah, whatever. We're done with you. Fitzy, good stuff. Really, 2 good guests. Sione Fukofuka, head coach for the women's program, was on the first half an hour. So, listeners, if you missed that, it will be on its own separate podcast. So, go back and find that pod and listen for it. And definitely thank you for tuning into the Wendy Young pod with us, with John Fitzpatrick and myself, talking about the same thing, the 25 women's rugby year and the up-and-comers. So 2 great shows, Fitzy. Last week, we found some names we haven't heard of before, and this week was also, it's some good stuff, right?
100%. Yeah, I'm prepped. I'm ready to go for 25.
I'm ready to suit up, put on my prom dress, or whatever, the gown. There you go. That's a whole different show. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Please like, follow, and subscribe us on social media. We're on pretty much every social media channel. And also share this podcast and this live show with your friends. And again, follow us at Eagles Overseas and at Rugby Morning on all your favorite social media channels. Thanks, everybody. Fitzy, good job. We'll see you next time.
Let's give it up for Wendy Young.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.